So hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Have the Race Gone for round 5 of the TSR GT300 championships from the Nürburgring GP layout. It's once more Tuesday. It's Tuesday yet again, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Evening to you, Ethan. Big surprise that you're first in there. Did you just assume? Anyways, we are here for a brilliant round of racing, or so I'd suppose. We're watching Joe of the Fire. Of course, the championship leader of the series, but once more it seems that ERT Stevie is on a pace that is hard to match for everyone else. He has been half a second faster in practice so far. Here is Martin Favhuisen in the cam hatch, Riva Racing Jack. Seems to be on the pace as well tonight. Sam Digby right in front of him in the qualifying standings. Storm Pacer as well. So, as mentioned before, good evening to everyone who has joined us. Qualifying will be starting in just about 10 minutes time, so we'll have a little bit of time to catch up on on what happened last week. We had some very, very heated battles during the opening laps of the race at Lago Maggiore, the GP layout there. But at the front we saw ERT Stevie just pulling away quickly indeed, and securing a lead that would turn out to, well, pretty easily indeed, last him the entire race. He kept on extending it, and took fastest lap in the process with quite a gap up to the ERT driver. And evening to the Bandito, evening to Stevie, as I was just talking about him. But Joe of the Fire, of course, still leading the championships with 86 points in the Corvette. In second, it is Sam Digby with 60 points in front of the shared car of GT Welsh and Sam Dick, or VRS Dick, the TSR organizers. And they're on 45 points. And in fourth, it's CJ Crazy John is here, who disappointingly isn't racing tonight due to fatigue, he says. Pure tiredness, but he's fourth in the standings at 38 points. It's the shared car of Dad 24DH and Shomar, who took the opening victory at the opening round at Suzuka with Shomar at the wheel. They are fifth in the standings with 36 points. Stevie with 26, of course, because he also got the fastest lap. He is in sixth in the standings in front of T5 Black Martin Favhuisen, who has had the pace on several occasions, but has also had quite some bad luck indeed. Dr. Hash in ninth, having only raced for a single race, or is it 2 races by now? I'm actually thinking it's 2 races by now, and same goes for Halbstack in 10th, and Storm Pacer, the Sugar Rush Performance Porsche in 12th, driven by both White Flight and Wake CU, and then Off Apple and Jimmy completing the standings. And good evening to you, Sugar Rush boys. Glad to hear that. And I have to say that I've been feeling like it's been a long time since the last Tuesday, and I've really been waiting for this race. I've really been looking forward. Though that said, I've been having a long weekend. Stella, the race dog, has fallen ill, and she's been to the vet, and she's gotten whatever medicine she was supposed to have. But it's been a long weekend on that account. Having a small dog is kind of or small dog, she's not that small, 15 kilos, but it's kind of like having a baby in some to a certain degree, at least, and at least when they're not feeling well and everything. So we didn't get too much sleep, the girlfriend and I, over the weekend. And I've seen that. Let's just have a look at the Porsche White Flight 7th in qualifying. Check out the aero updates that the Sugar Rush boys have added. It's, of course, Wake CU who does these liveries, and it's a nice addition of detailing. Perhaps those new aero tweaks will help them go just that a little bit faster, even though they seem to be a little bit off the pace. And Ethan, she is okay by now. She's getting better by the hour, I'd say, returning to the fresh dog that she usually is. An evening to Nils as well. Nice to see you. And I know that I have some insider knowledge here from the Discord, but Nils is doing a 2-hour enduro in the N600 class on the Nürburgring 24-hour layout. Is that tonight or is it one of the other days here? But it's certainly going to be a daunting task, so best of luck to Nils in his endeavors there. And here is that shared Honda NSX driven by GT Welsh tonight. We've had VRS Stick piloting in for the last couple of races. He's done a brilliant job, but Welsh being a swift gentleman indeed, will be interesting to see what he can pull out of the car tonight. Storm Pacer seems to be on a pretty good pace in the Ferrari 458. We have seen him struggle quite a bit throughout this season in the Ferrari with the twitchy nature of the car, and he's also been hit by quite a bit of bad luck indeed. So evening to everyone who has just joined us for the race tonight. We are closing in on qualifying session, and we should be just around about 5 minutes from the start of the qualifying session. Of course, this series uses a somewhat special qualifying format that I owe it to you to go through before we get to it. So here goes. It is of course such that it's embedded within the race and the laps of the entire race. So we have the race distance plus 8 laps of qualifying, and the first lap is to be considered a warm-up lap for tires and such. Then lap 2 is a flying lap, and lap 3 is an in lap, and then drivers pit in for tires and fuel. Lap 4 is then an out lap with flying laps on laps 5 and 6, and lap 7 is once yet again an in lap, and then this time for the race start, and then top 10 drivers are not allowed to change tires. So a little bit of a tactical, a bit of a tactical edge, so to say there, or a bit of extra work for the drivers at least. And then lap 8 is going to be the actual warm-up formation lap, and then race start. The first lap of racing is going to be lap 9. Lap 9. So I'm hoping that everybody has been enjoying their weekends a little bit more than I've been getting to enjoy mine. And then with that said, let's go on board with Dad 24DH as he's making his way around this slow chicane-ish. It's not really a chicane, it's not really an S-bend. It's hard to describe what it is. It probably has a name, but I don't know it. Should have done my homework for tonight. But anyways, a nice line on the exit of the hairpin up to the Schumacher SS here. Seems that the AMG GT3 is very solidly planted on the tarmac. Late braking with a sharp left-hander. Difficult to find the grip. So easy to lose it through that fast downhill right-hander. Then the kink, which is of course just flat out. And then a real heartbreaking zone into the chicane up here. Evening Martin as well, of course. Oh, and Bandito tried commentating with Apple on a random race commentary. I take it. I'll have to watch that after the stream. Let's see if it's... I suppose it's quite interesting, to say the least. That 24 getting within a second of the faster time set so far. So that's looking pretty good for the Brit. As he makes his way into the top 5. Jimmy in 7th, off Apple 8th. Then replacing in for CJ tonight is Gugas in the Renault RS01. Of course, Gugas, known face from the NES. And speaking of Gugas, good evening to you as well, mate. Nice to see you. Halbstærk is also back, of course, in the Lambo. I was just about to say that I couldn't see him, and as with that said, qualifying has begun. So as mentioned before, even though it looks like the race start, it isn't exactly that just yet. Qualifying about to start, and of course, evening to Alex. And I'd say go Team Car Guy as well. Brilliant livery. Of course, this being the start of the qualifying session. Evening to Shasa as well. Evening to Apple. Pick up Jack Wilkinson on the cam. So the formation lap, I was just about to call it the warm-up lap for qualifying is underway. We're just going to jump in to get those lap times as well. Pretty much need that. Digby wanting to be last, I think. It seems to be his thing. Being last to go around and making sure he has enough track space for himself. Welsh, first off. In the NSX, the Autobox NSX. Very nice livery indeed. And then, of course, it is last week's winner, ERT Stevie, of course, of the Aries Racing Team, the esports division. And one of the lesser-known drivers of the team, I'd say, but that doesn't mean he's one of the slower faces, because he has a huge amount of experience, also real-life experience from karting. And going back, as far as I can understand, to his junior days as well. So no surprise to see him being a fast gentleman here. Joe of the Fire, as mentioned earlier, also the championship leader, seems to get along very well with the Corvette. Although last week he had trouble matching the pace of ERT Stevie. So far in practice today, it has been the same pattern. Could be different for the race, but would be surprised to see that half a second gap diminish to a point where Joe could really be competitive. Let's see. Will of course be interesting indeed. Storm Pacer, as mentioned before, seems to have found the pace. Now it's a question of if he's found the stability for the Fessa as well. As the first drivers are making their way onto the flying lap number 1 on lap 2. And just to go through the qualifying session once more, it's then an in lap for fuel and tires on lap 3, an out lap on lap 4, then 2 flying laps on laps 5 and 6. Then it's another in lap on lap 7, this time for fuel for everyone for starting the race, and then the top 10 may not change their tires on that occasion. And then coming out on the 8th lap for formation warm-up lap and race start on lap 9. So Welsh seems to be having a pretty good time so far. Of course, the 57.9 is just to be completely disregarded, and we'll be seeing the first actual lap times being set this time around. Let's just jump on board with the Welshman. A little bit of barking from the after race dog Stella. I haven't heard that for a couple of days, so that just makes me all the more happy. The little beast is coming alive again. And this is Welsh into the chicane. Seems to get a very good line through there, but he goes wide. So just as I compliment him for a good line, he gets struck by the curse of the commentator. And it's not gonna be a brilliant lap for GT Welsh. No matter how good it might have looked earlier on, it's gonna be a 57.1 for Welsh. But look here, ERT Stevie is in the 54s with a 54.6. Brilliant lap time indeed. Unmatched by both Joe of the Fire and Storm Pacer. Let's see, Dr. Hash, he's into the 57s. Just about. That 24. Oh, he's getting close. Within the 55s. T5 Black in with a 56 something. Same goes for Martin there. A bit off the pace he showed in practice at least. Oh, Guga's getting a little wide. He's in for a 2 minutes dead. So that's not optimal for Gugas. And let's see here, Sam Dick, a really good lap as he exits the last corner. It's gonna be a 55, I think. It is indeed. So let's have a look at what has been set lap time wise here. ERT Stevie with a 54.6. As mentioned before, really, truly no one getting close to that. Joe of the Fire with a 55.5. Well, he's closest so far. That 24 as well with a 55.9 in a good position. And White Flight with a 58. Oh, sorry, that's a 58.8, so that's of course not anything to get that much excitement about. Halbstärk with a 156.1, which is also pretty much okay. Same goes for Storm Pacer, those two separated by just 88 thousandths of a second. Close indeed. And as our race director, VRS Stick, has just mentioned, pit is open for tires and fuel, and evening to Birdsey. I hope I'm saying it right, but it's, I guess, from what I know from the umlaut sounds of O and the A as well, it's, I guess it's what it sounds like. Anyways, but evening, mate. Nice to have you along. And here is everyone pitting in. The fastest drivers, the first on track, already pitting out. And on the outlap, ERT Stevie dipping under the 55s as the only driver so far. And let's just check back with the live timing. So yeah, interesting indeed. Welsh once again making his way to the head of affairs on the outlap. We're doing well to do so. It's more Joe of the Fire and Storm Pacer. I wouldn't say it's necessarily an advantage for those two to be that close. coming into those final 2 qualifying laps. Of course, it is 2 laps we're talking about, but still, Storm Pacer might be hoping to be able to gain a little bit of time in the slipstream of the Corvette of Joe of the Fire, the witty professor, in that number 27 car. And pretty much all the races from his side has been lectures in consistency. He has been there or thereabouts time and time again. And let's see how it goes. Now it's 2 flying laps. The last 2 flying laps of qualifying is on. And will any one of these other drivers be able to dip into the 54s to actually challenge ERT Stevie? Or will we see Stevie maybe being content with the 55.4 or 55.6, of course, that it is that he's put in already? And will he just save those tires? Because, as I mentioned earlier, the top 10 drivers will be pitting in for fuel on lap 7, but they won't be allowed to change their tires. So if they save their tires for these 2 laps, it will be 2 laps more of actual hammering when the race starts. And that might be very useful indeed. So, to any newcomers, welcome to Have the Race Gone. You're watching round 5 of the TSR GT300 championships from the Nürburgring Grand Prix layout. Bit of flashing of the lights from Joe of the Fire onto GT Welsh, who seems to have made another mistake on this lap. And that puts quite a bit of pressure onto the Welshman for his last attempt, his last shot at a flying lap. So Joe of the Fire, new personal best, but it isn't enough to challenge Stevie. Stevie, who clearly backed off, at least for this lap. I think we'll quickly be able to judge whether he's backed off completely or not. Halbstack seems to have had some kind of issue on this lap. Here comes Apple, also not a good lap for him. Jimmy improves by half a second. Let's see White Flight here. Oh, that's not a good lap for him, it seems. And what about Martin? Oh, improves by 6/10, so quite an improvement by the man from Vijfhuizen in the Netherlands. T5 Black just managed to miss his time on the line. Here's Gugus and Sam Digby in the Mustang, though I don't think it's going to be a brilliant time at all for him. He's quite a bit of way down on the pace. And with that said, it's Joe of the Fire entering the final sector on his final lap. 3/10 up on his best time so far, and that might actually, if he really nails and rails the final chicane and the final right-hander, he might be able to just threaten Stevie's pole position time, perhaps. He might just get close, at least. The witty professor it is. Throws the car in here. Oh, does he get a little bit of a slide on? Seems to get a good exit. Let's see, what will it be for Joe of the Fire? No, it's not going to be there. It's going to be some lost time, at least a couple of tenths through that final sector. And he does manage to improve. And as I did mention, see exactly what Stevie is doing here. He's saving the tires. And he's trying to get that advantage, knowing that no one is gonna be able to, or that it's quite probable that no one's gonna be able to touch that pole time. Another personal best for Jimmy, another half a second taken off for him. Halbstärk not with the best of qualifying sessions. Here it comes, wide flight. And that's not going to be a good time for him. Either he's just 2/10 down with a 58. Off-Apple has had some trouble. Here's T5 Black. He's also in the 58s and no improvement here. Martin Pfeiffersen, I think he had some kind of problem. He's in the 210s. Gugas is not going to be improving upon his personal best. But what about Sam Digby? Oh, just into the 56s. 3.5 seconds. 3.5 tenths down on his personal best. So Joe of the Fire managed to get in 55.2. Still more than half a second down on ERT Stevie. Though it is enough to grab second position in front of... Well, it'll be close for second. It's Martin Pfeiffersen, or for third. And Dad 24 in fourth position on the grid. And then Digby in fifth, I guess. But really close stuff in between those guys. Dr. Hash not managing to improve upon the 1:57.3. A little bit of a disappointment for the German. Or so I'd expect. And of course now pit is open. So might be some of the explanation that Dr. Hash is starting on the hard tires. Seems same goes for Halbstärk, same goes for Welsh and Whiteflight as well. So that's a bit of explanation, even though I wouldn't really understand. Of course, they've had the chance to do their first lap on mediums and then switch to the hards to stay or to start on the hards. And to then probably do an early pit stop, or at least so I'd suppose, to get on those mediums and to maybe gain an advantage later in the race. T5 Black, another one to start on the hard compound of Tyres. One love, Martin. Jack love. Lag you were. A little bit of a disappointment for Jimmy in the car guide GTR. And, not the only driver to miss out on his practice times. I saw Whiteflight also being quite a bit up on. Same goes for Welsh as well. So now just a little bit of waiting left. Oh, and the Sugar Rush Performance have a 2-place grid penalty. That's indeed, can we all big up Jack Wilkinson on the cam? Oh, Apple. So Stevie, of course, first in front of Joe of the Fire. As mentioned before, then it's Martin Pfeiffersen in the Jag in third position. The Cam Hatch Reverb Racing boys with a strong display in qualifying, at least here at that. 24 in fourth position today, so a strong one from him as well. With Sam Digby taking fifth. And who will be in sixth? And indeed, shot... Turn 1 is always a challenge at the Nürburgring, indeed. Of course, drivers packing up as they exit the pits. Halbstärk, 6th position for him, so he'll be having to wait up a little bit. So, Apple, this one is for you.
BG Media. BG Media. BG Media. Big up Jack Wilkinson on the cam.
There it is. Can we all pick up Jack Wilkinson on the cam? So anyways, race start is really approaching. As mentioned before, ERT Stevie on pole position. Untouchable time, over a half a second in front of Joe of the Fire. Once again in second position. But Joe wouldn't discount him yet. His race pace is always pretty much on point. Martin Fagerhuisen in that cam hatch Jack, third in front of Sam Digby Halpstad. Then it's T5 in sixth. It's Storm Pacer, Jimmy. Could that really be? Jimmy is ninth. GT Welsh 10th. Welsh down in 10th. Then Hash, Apple, Gugas, and White Flight. So evening to Jamal as well. Big up Trials in the chat. And yeah, Josh, Stevie does make fast tempos in that after in the Aston. He's been driving it for at least, as far as I know, a season of league racing before this, so would expect him to know the car quite well, and it does handle Nürburgring here quite well, the Aston. Perhaps not the best car through the slowest sections, even though it's by no means the worst. I think it has the strongest points through the mid and high-speed corners. And of course, we all have to be here to pick up Jack Wilkinson in the chat. Indeed. So the formation lap finally on the way. And seems like we have the proper grid order running. Indeed. Will be RT, Stevie, Joe of the Fire, Martin Dad, Sam, Halpstad, T5 Black, Storm Pacer. And then, as mentioned, the car guy Jimmy, the car guy GTR in the top 10. Nice performance right in front of GT Welsh. Dr. Hash in 11th position, so fresh tires for him. And he might be a danger man coming from behind. In the McLaren on fresh tires at the beginning here. And it's Apple in the letter mate in 12th. It's Gugas in the sketchy Renault in 13th. And it's the team grid penalty in 14th with the Norwegian White Flight and the Sugar Rush Porsche. So also will be quite interesting to see how far up the order they will be able to get themselves. Quite a bit of tire warming going on these outlaps here, and that is logically also because we're seeing with all the waiting time, I'm making it sound like it's a huge amount of waiting time, but there's a little bit of waiting time when the drivers are being called out from pit lane. That of course means that those lead drivers are going to be having quite cold tires, and we see a bit of weaving, and normally I'd say it's just about fine, but here do really need to get that temperature into the tires before the line. Nobody wants to hit turn 1, and especially not here at the Nürburgring. Nobody wants to hit turn 1 with cold tires. Now you see the drivers having come up to the formation point, the speed just going out of it, and they'll be coming up to the acceleration zone. And mind you, of course, that no overtaking is allowed before the start-finish line. And any overtaking before the line will be counted as a jump start. And here we go. It's green, green, green. And ERT Stevie is leading them down towards turn 1 on the inside. Brilliant run, it seems, from Dad24. He's on the outside, putting the pressure onto Joe of the Fire. Getting sideways. And in turn, it's Martin in the Jag who goes up into third position as that 24 went quite wide through turn 1. And just see further down, Jimmy up into 5th position. How is that even possible? Halbstag battling Sam Digby. Dr. Hash up into 8th. So a couple of drivers really having lost out through the first couple of turns. Let's head back to the leader. ERT Stevie already pushing a second down to Joe of the Fire. And turn half a second on down to Martin, but it's close then between himself and that 24. It's the Jag versus Mercedes, and then a big bunch up further down the order. Oh, a bit of pressure being applied from that 24, just sneaking his nose up the inside. Martin absolutely has to, I don't know if he has to react, but it's very gentlemanly and a brilliant move from that 24. Takes 3rd position from the Jag on the outside there, and it seems like maybe he just got a bad run. He might have, oh, Martin going very wide there indeed. A little bit of trouble for him, as I think Sam Digby is really charging as well. And he's now up into 4th, because I don't think Martin is going to be able to keep this position. Right behind here, it's Jimmy putting the pressure onto Halbstag. It's Dr. Hash and T5 Black right behind. Out in front, oh, Stevie getting a little sideways. He's really putting on the pressure here, and he's losing time thanks to that little mistake. Let's have another look at the start. Into turn 1 they went. Jimmy and that Kagai GTR, brilliant stuff. He started in 9th position, and he was in 6th as they went through turn 1. That is what you call a good start. I think Sam Digby got trenched on the line or something. He lost out on a couple of positions as we rejoin the action live. Halbstag defending from Jimmy down in 7th now, just having a look up with the leader, ERT Stevie. 1.4 seconds down to the witty professor, Joe of the Fire. Will be doing his utmost to keep up, but seems like Stevie is just on a charge at the moment. That 24 though consolidating 3rd position. Sam Digby having gotten the better of Martin Fagersen, but still it doesn't look like a big problem for Martin as he's holding on to that 5th position. Was a little bit afraid that he'd taken some kind of damage when he was falling down through the order before, but now he's picked up the pieces of himself and he's holding on to 5th. And evening to Stick, nice to see you on chat. Stick, who is of course busy stewarding, marshalling the race as well. Making sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. Oh, Hash is in the pits. That is early indeed. Let's just check for signs of damage. I don't think so. So might he have gone from hards to then mediums now to get the pit stop out of the way? And then just be able to have the fresh, clean air in front of him and just undercut everyone. Let's see. It might be the strategy from the German. So we join that 24, who's now pushing a good advantage down to Sam Digby in 4th position. And then behind, it's bunching up. Martin still seemingly close, at least to Sam Digby. And back to Halbstag, he's still 6th. He's still defending from Jimmy and the car guy GTR, who's having a strong race so far. Let's go on board with Jimmy himself. But so does the Lambo of Halbstag. You'd have to say this is not really a track for the Lambo. It's too technical and it has too many offsetting altitude differences through some of those corners that I wouldn't expect the Lambo to like, at least. The pride of the car, that is. Halbstag on hards at the moment. So that's that just makes it even more impressive. Strong job, but that of course also explains why Jimmy is really on his back. And I would expect Jimmy to be on the mediums. And I would expect Jimmy to think that he needs to find a way through. Just not to be stuck behind that Lamborghini. Of course, the straight line grunt is strong with the Lambo here. Though is Jimmy on the inside as they're coming up to the chicane, but he has to back out of it. And in behind is Storm Pacer, muscling his way through T5 Black into the chicane. There's strong work from the Brit up into fourth position. Let's see. Gets a nice run. It's T5 Black in the Lexus on the outside, just manages to outbrake him. So there's not really any ungentlemanly muscling, just a little bit of battling for position in the width of the track. Anyway, strong move there from Storm Pacer, taking 8th and looking to keep it as well. It's Welsh still in 10th position, so as it is for him, Apple up into 11th. We have White Flight in the Sugar Rush Performance Porsche. He's up into 12th. But that, of course, is also if in turn because of the pit stop of Dr. Hash. And he has gotten the better of Gugas. But he's almost 2 seconds down on off Apple. So losing a bit of time at the moment. He is. Oh, now it's Storm Pacer looking to get the exit on Jimmy. He seems to be absolutely flying at the moment. But we got a little bit sideways. Storm Pacer in the Fezzer. Oh, just misses the apex. And in turn, he is going to be losing time all the way up, even perhaps through the S's. There's a little bit of touch of the dirt from Jimmy in the GTR, who's looking to throw it up the inside. Gets shown off, indeed. And in behind it's T5 Black and GT Welsh. And we might see a little bit of a train forming behind Halbstag on the hards in 6th position. Doing a brilliant job so far of defending himself. And let's see if he can still defend himself from this one. Oh, is that going to go and cut the chicane a little bit? And that might just have been a regular racing move. Oh, that's a bad, I'm sorry, that's kind of a bad place to cut in the middle of an overtaking move. I'm so sorry, we're gonna watch it as we come back. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a touch between the two there, so not by his goodwill that he's going through the chicane. And let's just see how it went. Oh, just not gonna see this. It's gonna be the cutback move. Oh, into turn 1. Squabbling indeed. T5 and Welsh now also getting involved. Brilliant stuff indeed. Sam has damage from Martin's lag. Now we're seeing lag from Martin. The lag you are, well, not for us really. Seems the net code isn't the net code isn't really playing out too many games. Digby has damage. Let's see how bad it is. Yeah. Oh, Digby with a front splitter damage, front aero damage to his car. Well, not on my screen. He isn't lagging. Seems to be just fine. So that's gonna be a problem for Sam Digby with that damage. Storm Pacer in 7th now, putting the pressure on Halbstag. Oh, and what happened to Jimmy in the GTR? He has completely disappeared. And we have completely managed to miss it, but he is down in 11th position, so F's out for Jimmy, who was doing so well in that GTR. He was doing a very good job indeed. And now, and behind it's Gugas and White Flight getting involved. There was a little bit of a touch between the two as they went into the chicane. Not sure White Flight is going to be completely happy about that. Gugas seems to park that Renault up the inside of the corner and doesn't allow for a cutback from the Porsche. Cutting back to the leader, it's Stevie with a 2.5 second advantage down to Joe of the Fire. So it's not like he's just rocketed out of sight. Joe still keeping somewhat of a leash on the leader. And then in turn, 3.5 seconds down to Dad24, who's taken advantage of the fighting in behind. Martin, her 5-person, is in 4th position with Sam Digby 5th. Storm Pacer is now up into 6th position, really charging along in the Fässer. Halbstack is trying to hang on. And then it's T5 in 8th. It's Welsh in 9th, and off Apple now up into 10th position, just having overtaken the car guy GTR of Jimmy. Still strong job from Halbstack, keeping the Lambo in 7th place on the hards. So early in the race, on this pack here, 20 seconds down on the leaders, so quite a bit of gaps formed out in front of this mid-pack squabble that we're following at the moment. Still all 14 drivers running. And of course, a very warm welcome and a very good evening to everyone who has joined us after the start of the race. Of course, the qualifying taking up the first 8 laps, so effective race start on lap 9. And that means we are about 5 laps into the race at the current moment. Oh, there's a little bit of action going on behind between Welsh and T5, and it's Welsh taking 8th position. Now the NSX is having to deal with the straight line grunt of the Lexus coming down towards turn 1. Lexus does have the inside, and it will be difficult to do anything but a cutback from Welsh. Oh, gets too far into the dip. A little bit of a touch between the two. A little bit of scrubbing, but nothing more. And T5 retakes that 8th position. Strong work from the Swede here. And evening to you, Jonathan. But you're here now, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Anyways, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are enjoying the racing here. With a little mistake before from Welsh, and now he's under pressure from off Apple. And is that corner flashing through the turns from the Apple himself? It might be. Let's go up and check in with Storm Pacer. Halbstack is now 1.5 seconds down on the Fässer, so he has broken a little bit of a gap. But Digby in turn still 3.6 seconds in front, and doesn't really seem too hampered by that front splitter damage he sustained. Martin, did he also sustain some damage from that situation with the lag? Or was it only Digby being unlucky? Sometimes we do have situations where it does go both ways. And it certainly did in this situation as well, because Martin does have rear splitter damage as well. And here is Digby pitting in. So that's pretty early for a pit stop. And on the mediums, and the question is he gonna go on the hards already now, or what are we gonna see from Digby? Of course, it's given that he will fall down the order. He will probably have a lot of overtaking to do. A little bit of fuel coming on, and a set of medium tires for Sam Digby. So at least one more pit stop to be had, and he rejoins in 12th position right behind. Does he manage to rejoin in front of... Oh, I'm sorry about that. Did he manage to rejoin? Oh yeah, Jimmy has... Jimmy's down in 13th. I think probably also now with a pit stop on board. Let's see. Yeah, it seems he's had a pit stop, probably for some damage, and that might have been sustained when he lost all those positions. I think it's quite probable, at least. An evening to Max. Nice to have you along, and nice to see drivers rooting for Martin. And the Cam Hatch boys, the Reaver Racing boys. Martin is in 4th position at the moment. He's chasing that 24 in the AMG Mercedes. And then Storm Pacer up into 5th position with the pit stop of Sam Digby. So it's not looking too bad. Not looking too bad, at least. He's 5.4 seconds down on Martin in front and losing a little bit of time. And as I say that, he's of course gaining a bit of time at first. It's T5 in 7th position. It's Welsh in 8th, and there's a bit of a battle going on between the two. They've been changing positions back and forth against each other. And what did happen to White Flight? Oh, that's a good question. I think, did he pit in or something? Oh, that was not what I meant to do. Oh, it's a 2:41 on lap 14 for White Flight. So that's not just a pit stop. That's a bad lap with an accident plus a pit stop. F's out for the Sugar Rush performance. Porsche certainly doesn't seem to be White Flight's race today. Although he is on pace now with a personal best lap. Joe of the Fire now 5.3 seconds down on race leader ERT Stevie. And that 24 been closing some of the gap. He's 2.7 seconds down on Joe of the Fire. So the Witty Professor still not secure in his second position. He might have had a little bit of a moment before. There it is again, Martin, Storm Pacer, Halbstag still on the hard compound, and now it's T5 Black looking to return the favor onto GT Welsh. Yet another change of positions between the two, as Welsh gets the much better exit, and once more side by side through the final. But the Lexus with the superior run on the outside, able to carry a little more speed. He's gonna have Welsh for company in the slipstream, though he's a little bit too far back to be able to actually make a move. So once more side by side through the first sector. There's some brilliant battling between the two. That is some... Welsh almost just steered into the side of his Swedish rival here, but of course, the two are both a part of the TSR racing team. So it's two very good friends, it's two very good acquaintances, and it's two guys who've been racing each other on multiple occasions. A little bit of flashing behind from Off Apple, doing well in 9th position at the moment. And of course, just have to check, it is Welsh is on the hards, same goes for T5, and then we have Apple on the mediums of the three drivers. And as I say that, it's the first time we're seeing the BMW getting close to the two combatants in front here. And indeed, Bandito Burrito, he's doing quite well, and he's now moving up the inside of GT Welsh. Oh, he's forced to back out of it. Well defended from the Welshman in the NSX. And the lesser mate should be able to use its grand size. I mean, it's not as big as the mate, but it's close. And it indeed is a lot bigger than the NSX. So Off Apple should just put that car up the inside and try to watch Welsh defend. It does take up half of the track, more or less. But now he's lost out on a little bit of time through that first sector. Oh, what's going on up there between Welsh and T5? Was that a bit of argy-bargy? That might just have been. Let's have a look. Once more, these two giving us some excellent battling. It was just Welsh going a little bit wide on his own. So nothing more dramatic than that. Halbstærk still in 6th. He's first of the drivers on the hard compounds. I think it's more like it's 7/8 of a mate. Bandito, but it's close. Still got some girth. Yeah, it's got girth. The M6 certainly got girth of its own. Oof. Storm Pacer still in 5th position, but he's lost a little bit of time to Martin Fagersen in 4th. And he's also picked up some time on Halbstærk, who's now 4.5 seconds down on the top 5. That 24 is slowly but steadily seeming to reel in Joe of the Fire at the moment. This might have been a little bit unexpected, but a great consistency so far shown by that 24. Let's see if he'll be able to keep up picking off the advantage of Joe of the Fire at this rate. He certainly will be in with a shot. Also knowing that they've had some setups that were very, very good on the tires that might be playing into the advantage of the 10X Mercedes boys later in the race. And that's a good point, Trouts. I think my thoughts were along the same lines. Well, that's just like a bigger thing of the thing that was already big. It's like the BMW M6 made in America. Anyways, listen to the squealing tires of Halbstærk in that Lambo. He's doing a brilliant job so far of hanging on with his fingernails. It's the impression you get of how the car is driven. There's a German inside hanging on to the steering wheels as the car turns, sliding about, but it does go very, very, very fast in a straight line through the Schumacher S's. It'll be interesting to see when he chooses to pit. But of course, it would make sense for him to at least make sure that it isn't too early so that he gets too far down the running order and might encounter a lot of traffic and then have to battle his way through. T5 holding on to 7th position, still accompanied by both GT Welsh and Off Apple, who's back on the tail of those two, just lurking. This time I think Welsh is gonna send it up the inside into the penultimate chicane complex here, the penultimate corner, pretty much it is. Welsh, brilliant move there, and it might even open the door for Apple as he's really close to T5, who gets a terrible exit from that chicane. And as we mentioned, Halbstærk, and when his pit stop was gonna come, it's coming right now. It's coming up for Halbstærk, pitting in from 6th position on the hards. And I was thinking something along the lines of, well, it would have to be coming soon because you'd want to get the maximum bang for your buck on those medium tires. So an early stop is to be expected from those starting on the hard compounds of tires. Halbstærk rejoining in 12th position, so in front of Jimmy and Whiteflight, who's had that bad share of bad luck, but he's behind Gugas, he's behind Dr. Hash as well. Dr. Hash was now pretty much alongside of Sam Digby, and mind you that Hash had his early pit stop as well, so he might be doing that run through pretty much of the entire race, more or less, minus just a few couple of laps on the mediums, and I'm not sure what his strategy is in the end. Yes, running the mediums at the moment, but he's also running not too much fuel in the car. He's really putting Sam Digby under pressure at the moment. No, I don't think the Bentley is as big as the big mate, because Well, I just don't think it is. It's there's action going on in front. Oh, there's big action going on in front of Apple now getting his nose in front of. Well, first is Welch. Is T5 gonna be the next on his list? He is as they go side by side through the chicane. That's brilliant stuff. Brilliant defending from the Swedish survivor, holding on to 6th position. Let's go on board with that rear-facing camera. Welch is now pitting in. And T5 getting a good exit on Apple. Let's follow Welch for his pit stop indeed. So last of... Welch, of course, going to be changing for the mediums, and he's going to be rejoining behind Halsterk, I think. Of course, he pitted in from quite a bit further back on the track. Let's go back with the action where it is. Off Apple, the Nuke Shot Endurance Series organizer fighting, having a good fight with the T5 Black, the Swede in the Lexus RCF GT300 car, the TSR team driver. Oh, but he's not really having to defend. He's getting a little squirmy on that exit. And just about a second behind of these two, it's Sam Digby, and not too far behind from him, it's Dr. Hash. So we might have even more company for these two drivers in not too long time. Mind you, Digby, he has been in for his first pit stop. But mind you that Digby started on the medium compound, and he's, or so I think at least. Of course, if I'm wrong, please do correct me. Apple with a bad exit through that sweeper, and that opened the door for the Mustang. And even though the BMW is fast, I'm not sure he's going to be able to defend, or he is going to be able to defend. Nope, he's not. Getting sideways on the exit, that's going to lose him another spot, I think, because opportunistic one from Dr. Hash just following Digby around. Catastrophic couple of corners for Apple as T5 pits in on the hard compound. And that's, of course, going to leave the rest of the race for him on the mediums. Of course, it is such that the drivers have to use both tires of compound, both compounds of tires available to them for the race. And in this series, it's the hards and the mediums. If you shouldn't you have picked up on that already, which I would suppose most of you would. But anyways, there it is. Apple up into 8th, of course, with that pit stop. Halsterk in 9th. But a stop up and on the softer set of compound, so he's in a pretty good position indeed. Of course, might actually be a better position than Digby, because Digby is going to have another pit stop. Dr. Hash as well. I think he's going to have another pit stop too. It's been a very long time since we've checked in with the race leader. It's ERT Stevie. He is really hammering out the gap. He's 11 seconds in front of Joe of the Fire at the moment. So a proper extension since last time we checked in. Joe of the Fire now pitting in with just a 2-second advantage down to that 24. And the question is it gonna be a 2-stopper for Joe of the Fire here, or is he gonna go straight to the hards? Because last week it seemed that the 2-stop strategy of ERT Stevie was perhaps the fastest. So Tyres, a good bit of fuel on, a little bit of a damage fix, so Joe of the Fire had some damage there that might seriously have hampered him. And now, of course, completely didn't check or didn't see what tires he came out of, but he's on the mediums, so a 2-stop strategy as well for Joe of the Fire. He is going to be coming in for a late stop for the hards. Yeah, Alien, he's ETing away out in front. Still to have his first pit stop, extremely. And of course, from us here at Half the Race Gone, it's a driver we'd love to see compete in the IGTL. because judging by the difference between him and the rest of the field here, I think it would be a fit competition for his level, ERT Stevie. And of course we have been lobbying for it already, so wouldn't be surprised to actually see it happen. Hey Cliche, nice to see you. Evening and welcome to you. So by now it's that 24 in second position. He might be doing what Shomar also did at Suzuka and going for that tire saving while still running kind of fast strategy that worked brilliantly for Shomar, and it's worked brilliantly for the boys in all the races, because it's been the same strategy they've been running. They've been taking advantage of the fact that the AMG GT3 is able to be very easy on the tires. And he's holding on to second at the moment, of course, being a pit stop down. Same goes for Martin. Still also running around with that damage. He's now 13 seconds down on that 24. And now Dr. Hash in for his second and probably his final pit stop. So I'd expect him to slap on another set of mediums and rejoin for the final dash to the line. Dr. Hash, our German friend. Of course, also an acquaintance made through the IGTL, mainly. Although it has to be said that I had one race against him at a daily race quite some time ago, quite some months ago, actually, maybe even a year's time ago, where I actually won against drivers who are usually a bit too fast for a pleb like me. So there's a little bit of backstory. Dr. Hash rejoins in 12th position, not optimal for the German. Jimmy is in 11th by now. T5 running 10th. Some seconds down on Welsh following this AMG GT300. Yeah, it's saying GG when you have to say more than just GG, because GG is kind of easy to say, but AMG GT3, it's kind of it's a tongue twister indeed. It's good MC training. Speaking fast on the Gran Turismo Sport broadcast here. Welsh now running 9th, as mentioned before. Off Apple still in 8th position, running those mediums. He's been running those tires since the start of the race. Halbsterk is up into 7th position. It's Digby running 5th. It's Storm Pacer in 5th position. Did I say Digby running 5th? Because it is, of course, Digby running 6th and Storm Pacer in 5th. And then Show of the Fire in 4th position at the moment, behind Martin Favhuisen, Dad 24, and ERT Stevie. But mind you that all three leaders still need to pit in for at least once, and I wouldn't expect any of them to do it more than once at this point. Expect Stevie to just cruise on through and have a late stop for the Hearts. Now Halbsterk with the advantage of medium tires. He seems to be closing in on Sam Digby, getting a very good exit on the Mustang from turn 4, that is. And then 5 and 6 are in the book, and he's still gaining. And he's getting within the slipstream now as well. Half a second now. Let's check in with Storm Pacer. No reports of crying tires. And see around Wake, or Sugar Rush performance, I should say. But it's of course Wake CU, also a driver in the series, sharing a car with a White Flight. Ethan already always Ethan always with the golden chat. Golden chat. Mr. Golden Chat. I'm gonna call you that. Maybe it should be your new Discord name. It's time. Follow the tradition of the hotboxing Dutchman and change your name on Discord every 2 days. F's out for the hotboxing Dutchman, who, by the way, is in hospital today. Reports is in that he shot himself in the arm with a nail gun. That must have hurt like a profanity. And yeah. Ethan, it's I don't even remember now, Ethan. It's, you go back and check it on stream. It's Golden Chat. Gold Ethan. So Dad 24 still with that 13-second advantage, though it's closer to 14 now. Joe of the Fire is beginning to appear in the mirrors of Martin Pfeiffer, and will in turn, that'll make it hard for Martin to finish at the podium, because he has to pit. And the question is he still running around with that damage? He certainly is. That's quite a good job keeping keeping the pace. That 24 pitting in with just about 12 laps remaining. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it be 12 laps on the hards for that 24. And interesting thing now, where will he be compared to Joe of the Fire as they exit the pits? There seems to be quite the advantage for Joe of the Fire, and also quite a bit more than I'd actually imagined. Because Storm Pacer, whoa, Storm Pacer getting very close to that 24, and he is gonna take him around the outside. So Storm Pacer up into 4th position. Reports of crying tires. Did he pit early? The Storm still needs to pit. Anyways, evening to ADY, or Addy? ADY. Of course, it's just Addy. And nice to have you along. You have joined us for the last 12 laps of racing here from the Nürburgring GP layout from the GT300 Championship of TSR Motorsports. It's ERT Stevie leading Joe of the Fire and Martin Pfeiffersen in front of Storm Pacer and that 24. And we saw just a second ago that 24 going a little deep into that chicane. But in turn he seems to have quite the speed advantage compared to Storm Pacer. And that Ferrari is really sliding about in the corners. Let's go on board for a ride with that 24DH in the 10X Mercedes AMG GT3. And thanks CRN. Getting closer and closer. Oh, by the corner as Storm Pacer massively misses the apex of the final corner and onto the start-finish straight. Although I think that 24 lost a little bit of pace as he stuck his wheel onto the grass here. Digby in for his final stop. He's pitting in from around 7th position. It'll be interesting to see where he rejoins. Although I think it'll be somewhat far down the order, considering the late stage of the race. He is in 9th position. He's struggling a little bit with the Mustang. Now he has Off-Apple for company. Off-Apple on the outside here, but just getting cut off, and Digby holds on to 9th. Let's see if Apple has been in for his pit stop so far. He still hasn't. So Here's one who really goes for a maximum amount of lap time on or lap time, a maximum amount of race time on the medium compounds. And of course, as Trials also mentions from our own, it's a little bit confusing, I know, sometimes with when I do these broadcasts, and we have the smooth boy that is Trials666, my very good friend and co-owner of the channel, co-host, co-driver, co-whatever, and the main man when it comes to the Project Car stuff as well. Anyways, get a little confusing when he's there in chat, I know, but he's there in chat. And what I was gonna say was, of course, if you do like our stuff, if you do like our content here on Have the Race Gone, do smash that like button. And do, of course, hit subscribe as well. And if you subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell icon as well, because in turn it means that you'll be notified whenever we are broadcasting something, which I guess is good. We don't have a podcast yet. Cliche. I've actually been thinking of Have the Podcast Gone, which would be the natural things to call it. Storm Pacer exiting in 7th position, so that's not too bad. But in turn, that puts Welch up into 6th. He's come from pretty much out of nowhere. You would be on a charge, but Heidsterk, of course, is in 5th at the moment. He's also on the mediums. They're both chasing down Dad24, but Dad24 have had his pit stop already, and that makes their real next target, Martin Fagerson, at the moment in 3rd position. Evening also, of course, to Gentleman Racing, and Have the Podcast Gone would be good fun. So that's Welsh 6, Storm Pacer 7, T5 Black in 8th position in front of Sam Digby running 9th. And that's right in front of Apple. I say right in front, he's lost a second and a half. Dr. Hash running 11th position in the McLaren 650S. Can't really be full satisfaction for the Germans. Same goes for White Flight in 12th, Gugas in 13th, and then Jimmy, he's in the pit in 14th position. Do a podcast? Well, I guess it would be fun. Something we could try. I thought about doing podcasts before, and I guess it would be fun, and do have a good amount of experience with recording audio from my days of making music. Did a little bit. I did some recording of both bands and rappers and singers and whatever, so I know my way around. Guess I would be able to make a podcast sound pretty okay as well. It would be fun. So if there's the want to hear a podcast, we'll certainly be looking at it. Of course, hit us up on our Discord channel. Join our Discord channel and hit us up in the suggestions and feedback thread if there's anything particularly you'd like to see on the channel, you'd like to see us do, or whatever. Anyways, ERT Stevie is closing in on a second race victory in a row, and it seems to be well scripted in the end, because he joined the series as a latecomer. He's proving to be very, very fast indeed, as we on the channel at least already knew. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see over the next 4 weeks, 3 weeks it is, will he be able to take the title come the end of the series. Of course, 8 weeks of racing on show. Joe with the Fire keeping second at the moment. And here is Martin. He's still in third position, but he also still has to make that pit stop. And with a 12.2 second gap down to DirtenDK, I'm having a hard time seeing him actually being able to make it. Get Cass on and call it a god cast. That's a good one, Ethan. I couldn't see the one before because of a pop-up on my screen. But say nothing, gesture wildly in agreement only, call it a nodcast. It's not bad indeed. And indeed, Addy, no one can think too much here. And see as well. Oh, Trials. I'm trying to concentrate on the final laps of the race here. DirtenDK running fourth. He's closing in on Martin, but look at the Lambo of Halbstag, who's just a couple of seconds down on DirtenDK. And that means in the end, the Lambo of Halbstag could be looking at a podium place finish here. Of course, DirtenDK is on the hard compound of tires. Halbstag is on the mediums at the moment. Of course, being so late in the race, I'm not sure how big that advantage is, even though does look like it could be there. Slightly missing the apex, and that in turn means missing or losing a little bit of time. But the Lambo is so strong in its straight line speed. Strong display, strong showing today from Halbstag indeed. Welsh also in 6th, Storm Pacer 7th, and T5 8th. A little late on the brakes through turn 1. He actually bleeds about half a second as a result, up to DirtenDK in front. I'm still intrigued to see when we're gonna have the Jag of trying to save it for as late as humanly possible. And that lag we weren't seeing earlier, well, we are certainly seeing it now. And I'm having concerns that we're going to be watching some serious warp speed action if this continues to get any worse. And you guys are just going on, aren't you? But there's DirtenDK, there's Halbstag closing in. And then behind those two, it's GT Welsh. He's 5.2 seconds down. So, as he gets a little bit wide, but manages to keep it on the track. And indeed, Wake Martin seems a perfect subject for the junior warp speed team. Indeed. Return of the awkward collisions. Oh yeah, who remembers that NES race from Le Mans? We had that Mercedes of Wake, just light speed indeed. Light speed titanium frame. So here's DirtenDK now. Still, it's just hovering around those 2 seconds, it seems. But DirtenDK getting a great exit from turn 4, turns 5 and 6. Turn 5 is surprisingly fast. Turn 6 always feels surprisingly slow. An easy place to make a mistake. So to lose the rear end, go a little bit too wide. Find a couple of inches of grass or sand underneath your rear tire, and find the front facing towards the wall within not too much time. certainly something we've seen before. Oh, and look at the gap now. Halbstag all of a sudden really appearing in the mirrors of that 24. And now it's less than a second. And that, of course, means it's onboard time. I think by now we'd be seeing the pulse of the Brit increasing. And at the same time, it's the pit stop of Martin Fairversen. So let's see when he'll be exiting the pits. Of course, it's going to be on fresh hearts for his sake. I see Halbstag really trying to line it up for the run down the start-finish straight. Is it going to be 6th position as Martin isn't even out of the pit yet? I think Wells is going to make his way through as well. And a lot of CRN boys watching teammate Halbstag repping strongly here, fighting for the podium positions on the last couple of laps. And this is, of course, a battle to the line by now. Both of these drivers haven't gotten all the pit stops they both need to get out of the way. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there between Halbstag and that 24. And what a nice camera from the AMG. Just a big wing where you would want to see a car in behind. No damage for that 24, no damage for Halbstag. So that's what we want to see between the two. The battle can go on indeed. That 24 with a strong defense so far. Halbstag aiming to get the exit here, but he's going to be shut on the outside. Coming into the Schumacher S's. Proper stuff here. Oh, that's the cut back through the S's from Halbstag. That's a brilliant move. And he is up into 3rd position. Strong job from Halbstag. Let's have another look on that one. From the outside camera as he cuts back through. Look at that. To the other side, to the backside, able to carry more speed and then gives himself the inside run through the next corner. That is brilliant racing indeed. Really taking advantage of the grip advantage that he has over that 24, but also putting his mind into it. And now he has the challenge of breaking away from that 24, who's still seeming to hang on. And just a little... Well, I'm not sure what has happened to Martin. What has happened to Mr. Fairversen? He's down in 12th position. How could that pit stop have taken so long? Oh, he's not in 12th, he's in 6th. So that's a little bit of a game being played with me there. I thought, what the hell had happened to poor old Martin? It turns out he's still well and doing okay in 6th position. Still maybe a little bit disappointing for him to end up with that. Of course, the damage early in the stint would really hinder him for a lot of time and cost him a lot of time throughout the race. Now a brilliant performance by Halbstag. So who else is out of the race? It is... that's a good question. I think it's Digby. It's Sam Digby as well as Jimmy, who's out of the race at this moment. Stevie pitting in, and that's for Hartz, and that's his only pit stop of the day, I guess. With just a couple of laps remaining, and he'd hardly even to do any fueling, I think. Just tires, and that's it. See for ERT Stevie as he exits on those hard tires. What a brilliant run he's put in. Speaking about Schumacher doing it in the AMG GT3, Stevie's really pulled that off in the Aston. He's now 10 seconds clear of Joe of the Fire. So it hasn't been as destructive, if you will, as last time around. Joe gains a little bit through turn 1 here as well. Halbstag looking to consolidate 3rd position. He's now coming on to the last 3 laps of racing. So Halbstag, third. That 24 is in for quite a bit of a job, I think, if he's going to catch up. Of course, take much of a mistake. Yes, I think it's was that the sliding Lambo that we heard? I think that was a little bit of a slide from Halbstag. But the status quo with the gap in front, and now it's Welsh getting close as well. So Welsh now starting really to appear in the mirrors of that 24DH. Great butting there from Trals. And I didn't see the incident between you and Storm Pacer there, Alex, but of course we'll be there'll be stewards going through the incidents reported, so just remember to report them after the race. Now Joe of the Fire is pitting in, and that is turn. Oh, and then just as I thought that he would be closer, that's of course a two-stop strategy for the witty professor. Getting pulled off to perfection, just minimizing his time on the hard compounds, but of course also quite certain that he'll make it out in front of Halbstag. Well, was that for? Has he been on the? Oh, I'm a little bit confused about what might be going on here. No, indeed, racing hard for Joe of the Fire, so orderly indeed from the witty professor, and then the advantage back up to 27 seconds. Between the two leaders, and Halbstag now just 6.3 seconds behind, and that shows how well it is actually. It's actually been going for the CRN driver. So Halbstag, who's he started some way down the order, and he's been managing to put a Lamborghini Huracan into a podium position around the Nürburgring GP track so far. That is in itself a performance worthy of many applauses. And it's a great one we're seeing from him today. Now we are on the penultimate lap. ERT Stevie certainly gonna take the win. He's getting close to that final lap indeed. And as we're heading towards the final lap, I'm gonna take the final opportunity before the end of the race to say that, of course, if you like our content, hit that like button. And should you find us worthy of a subscription, do also feel free to subscribe to our channel. Stay updated on our content. Of course, mostly it actually isn't that much more mostly anymore. But we do these GT Sport race broadcasts. We also do some stuff in Project Cars 2, and we've got a series going in a dirt rally with me doing career mode and a little bit of community racing there as well. So we've also got a Discord if you really feel it, where a lot of fun stuff is going down, which I can only say come and join the Discord. It's a lot of fun. So ERT Stevie's certainly gonna grab the win today. It's Joe of the Fire, unless he makes any huge cock-ups, or unless Gugas decides that Joe isn't finishing second today. Well, Joe is gonna finish second today. Let's see. Ethan unsubscribes. Well, I know, Ethan. Bye-bye. Never see you again. We also... Indeed. But anyways, Halbstag, he has consolidated his advantage down to Welsh, who's now up into fourth. I think we've had some kind of issue for that 24, who's 4 seconds down on Welsh. Must have had some kind of off track. So not the perfect race ending whatsoever for that 24DH. Yet again, a strong finish from Welsh to end within the top 5. Having started in 10th position and finishing 4th. That's an impressive showing indeed. And with that, it's ERT Stevie taking the checkered flag for the 2nd race in a row. Huge congratulations. Yet another dominant performance in that Iris racing team, Aston Martin. The 712 Aston. Driven by Stevie anyways. Brilliant race yet again. Joe of the Fire. Best he could end up with today was 2nd. And it's also a strong showing for the championship. Halbstag is going to hold on for 3rd with GT Welsh taking 4th position. Strong one in the end. That 24 ending in 5th. And now it's going to be Martin Fagersen and T5 Black with a battle to the line. But it's going to be Martin Fagersen in the Jag in front of T5 Black in the Lexus RCF. Storm Pacer's going to come home for 8th position. It's going to be 9th for Dr. Hash in the McLaren. Strong race from Halbstag indeed. White Flight is going to take 10th position in the end. So at least in the top 10 from the Porsche, who was hoping for more today, I think. But that is the ways of motor racing. Sometimes you just aren't lucky. Off Apple's going to take 11th. It's going to be 12th and last of the finishers for Gugas. And Storm Pacer, I don't know what contact is being reported so far. I think it'll be the organizers are gonna put it in the race thread. Anyways, ERT Stevie taking the win in front of Joe of the Fire and Halbstag. That completes our podium today. And yet again, I think the TSR GT300 just doesn't disappoint. We've seen some great stuff, some great racing here, great overtaking, great tactical stuff as well, with a lot of battles coming together actually in the final laps. We saw a long battle between T5 and Welsh, with going back and forth for 10 laps or so. That was extremely interesting to follow. Also Off Apple deciding to join in there, and also a couple of drivers with bad luck. Digby, not sure he actually disconnected because he's still here in the lobby. So he might have finished actually, and we just couldn't have seen it. That is the ways of GT Sport. They could do a little updating for the lobbies, or for the next update, please fix some of these lobby issues. The pit bug or the stock bug on grid as well. And then some of these things. But anyways, that is what it is. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us for this broadcast tonight. It has been a big pleasure having you all along. It's been a big pleasure, at least on my part, broadcasting this TSR GT300 race for you all. Of course, we will be back next Tuesday for more GT300 action. Indeed, we will also be back tomorrow for Project Cars 2 action from the AOR GT3 League. We'll be racing at Long Beach at night, which is going to be very interesting. Tune in to follow Trials on his way through there, and myself as well. Although I'm quite sure it's going to be from Trials' car. Anyways, that's going to be good fun. And Thursday, don't forget, it's time for dips, crest, bumps, and whatnot. It's of course time for Dirten Rally. And the first 3 rally broadcasts have been something special and huge fun, also with a good bit of banter going on in chat. So join me for that one as well. It's going to be good fun. And with that said, I think all there is left to say from me is thanks for tuning in to Have the Race Gone. Of course, like and subscribe if you feel like it. My name is DirtenDK. And with that said, take care, have fun, and bye bye.